Hello and welcome back to REV Endurance Sports and another episode in the series of, hey, I just got a power meter and I don't understand what all these numbers mean and all these calculations that this software is creating for me. So today we're going to combine two of the things that we've already talked about on this channel, normalized power and functional threshold power, and we're going to talk about intensity factor. Okay, so intensity factor is basically how hard your ride was, your intensity, right? So it looks like this. The intensity factor is your normalized power divided by your functional threshold power. Now remember that normalized power takes into account the variability of your efforts, whereas average power just takes every single data point and then averages it out. So variability of your workout, and then your functional threshold power is the maximum power you can hold, theoretically, average power you can hold for 1 hour. So if we look at this, if your normalized power for that ride was equal to your functional threshold power, then that is an intensity factor of 1.0. Okay? So, for the time being, just understand that intensity factor just tells you how hard your ride is. We've established that intensity factor tells you how hard the ride is. So let's kind of quantify that a little bit. So if you see here, if your intensity factor is less than 0.75, then that's considered a recovery ride or, easy spin out on the bike. Between 0.75 and 8.5, you're looking at endurance training, long, steady rides, that kind of thing. 0.85 to 0.95, that's tempo, or what some people call sweet spot training. And this is solid training without any burnout. Right? You're not going super hard, because 0.95 to 1.05, that's going to be threshold efforts, a race-like effort. And then above 1.05, we're talking about supra threshold. Think about like what a short race might feel like, or a time trial, interval sessions, or I've got an asterisk there for breakthrough training, because sometimes, because of all the training you've been doing, your FTP is going to go up. So if we go back to that first graphic that I showed you, if your normalized power is, for that ride is, let's say 250 watts, but you have your FTP set at 225, well, then you've exceeded what was supposed to be your maximum 1 hour of power. You did 250 average power, but your FTP was set at 225. So this is a check and a balance as well, right? So if your intensity factor starts showing a really high number, then this means your FTP is set too low. So you're going out, you're probably doing, like, let's say you're doing a tempo effort, and so you're only at 85% or close to like 95%, but it doesn't feel like that, then that means you've set your FTP too low. Conversely, if you're out there just killing yourself and you're never getting to that 1.0, well, then you've set your FTP too high, right? So you've probably set it at 250, 270 or 275. Let's just throw a number out there. And you're going as hard as you can and you're only doing 225, right? So at that point, you've set your FTP too high. So keep in mind that your FTP is always changing. It's not set it and forget it like Ronco. You set it based on your current fitness level. You test every 4 to 6 weeks and see if your FTP changes, and then you make changes to that. But the other way is by looking at your FTP. The other reason, not just as a check and a balance for your FTP number, the other reason why you want to keep track of your IF, your intensity factor, is because this is how you can structure your training properly. This is how you can look at how hard you are riding. Let's say, for example, which this is a training philosophy I subscribe to, 80% of my time is at zone 2, a little of zone 3, and 20% of that time is at hard efforts, right? So if you're looking at your intensity factor and every time you come home you have a 0.95 or 0.90 of intensity factor, you're riding at 90 to 95% of your maximum, theoretical maximum average power you can hold for 1 hour. But you're doing this for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. So either the data that you've put into your computer, your cycling computer, is wrong, or you're riding too hard. But who knows, maybe that's the training you want to do. Anyway, so it helps you structure your training, helps you train smarter, and it gives you a really good indication of how much stress you're putting on your body. Okay, really short videos. I want to keep this just small nuggets of information, and then we'll keep going. So in this video, we talked about normalized power, we talked about functional threshold power, and then we talked about intensity factor. One of the following videos I'm going to talk about is training stress score, TSS. And by the way, all of this stuff is already calculated for you, either on your cycling computer, which you can add a screen to your cycling computer, and you could put the IF there, or you could put your TSS, training stress score, and that might be the next video I do, because I want people to understand how much stress they're putting on their body based on, again, it's going to go back to your functional threshold power. If that data is correct, then all the other formulas that are derived from that number will be accurate as well. Okay, that is all for today. If you're getting value out of these videos, please like and subscribe, and please hit that notification bell so that you know when I've posted another video. And also, please share my videos with other folks that you know have just recently got a power meter and don't know how to get the most out of it, or they've kind of like said, oh, I don't see what the big deal is with riding with power. I don't know. I don't know what these numbers mean. So maybe they've taken it off their bike because they just didn't understand the value that it could provide to you. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time and your attention. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you up the road.